Welcome back to 843 TV. Well, we already know he has his PGA card, but Chris Tremblay is here wearing his WHHI sports announcer play-by-play hat today. So as we've been talking about, it's kind of hard to believe, but it's back to school and it's back to football. So when is the first game?
It is hard to believe. Summer's already over. It's like, where did it go? It feels like the kids just
Right.
got out of school a few weeks ago, especially for the parents at home. We're saying, I can't believe they're going back, and a lot of them are happy about that. The first game is Friday, August 17th. We tape on Friday evening. The broadcast will run on WHHI Saturday the 18th at 10 o'clock in the morning, Sunday the 19th at 11 o'clock in the morning, and then prime time the 21st, Tuesday evening at 8 o'clock.
Okay.
And that's pretty much the cycle of all the games.
Okay.
And we have to give a lot of credit to our producer, Jeremy Pope, who does the game on Friday night, and then he has to go back to the studio and works diligently through most of the night to have it ready to go at 10 o'clock on Saturday morning.
Yeah. It's a busy season for him.
It certainly
for sure.
is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Chris, what can folks expect when they tune into the broadcast?
Well, one of the things I think that is most impressive about the broadcast is just the job that the production crew does between the camera angles, the instant replay, and we pretty much do that on just about every play, and certainly on all the good plays. And then the graphics that go along with it. It truly is an impressive performance by our crew, and it's really a great watch. And we highly encourage everybody that likes to watch the high school football to really pay attention to that, because it's every bit as good as the national broadcast.
Wow.
I was looking at the schedule, some really great matchups. What do you think are some of the most interesting matchups this season?
Well, every game is a rivalry game, more or less, because it's local team versus local team. You have your usual big games, the Bridge Bowl, which is Bluffton against Hilton Head. But we also have the battles of the schools that are south of the Broad against the schools north of the Broad. And we have some of the newer rivalries that have come to be because of new schools. We have May River against Bluffton, and I can tell you that that's a packed house. The May River game, you and I still are going to talk about that. Yeah, right, Charles. And then we have, a school like John Paul II playing against Hilton Head Prep. So every week, every game is a pretty big rivalry game.
So go Seahawks, I'm just saying.
Go Seahawks, okay, for those of you that are Hilton Head fans.
I have to have kids that went there and go there, so I'm a Seahawks fan. But what is your favorite or best part for you about doing the play-by-play for WHHI?
I think more than anything, it's the excitement of the game. You get there, and quite a few of the stadiums have a lot of people at them. You can feel the energy in the crowd. It gets my adrenaline going. I've always been a big football fan. I, enjoy working with the people here at WHHI and producing the game. And the games last year, there were so many of them that came right down to the wire. And most of the games, it was almost one of those things that came down to conditioning and who really had it in the fourth quarter. We saw that a few times last year out of Beaufort. They had some close games with Hilton Head and Bluffton and kind of pulled away at the end. So it's really just the excitement of the game and being involved with the production crew and being able to bring it to the WHHI viewer. Yeah.
Well, it is. I agree with you on that energy and that feeling. As soon as you can kind of hear the band and you hear and you get it's exciting. It's fun.
It is. It's very exciting. I know when Jeremy, our producer, says, "Okay, we're ready to go," and it's time for the opening kickoff. It's I can feel my heart get pumping a little bit. I mean, here we go.
Yeah.
We're off.
We're off.
Chris, we were honored to be able to do the Most Valuable Player award last year, and so saw what you did and listened to what you did, and you do a great job.
Well, thanks.
You really do.
It's nice of you to say.
What's your background and how did you land this job with WHHI?
Well, how I landed the job, I have no idea.
I understand.
But my background for television, more or less, is when I moved here in October of 2011, I got involved with the show Golf Center, and I was the host of that along with Bob Stevens, who does the Hilton Head News. He and I did that show for a little over 3 years, and it was something I really enjoyed doing. And then the opportunity more or less presented itself, and the station manager, Wayne Morse, came to me and said, is this something you might want to do? And at first I was a little apprehensive because most of my background in terms of doing anything as far as commentary goes, or an area of expertise, so to speak, was strictly in the golf field. But I've probably watched a little more football than the average bear. So therefore, I can safely say that I didn't feel too uncomfortable once I kind of got into the seat and started calling the games. And what I actually did prior to doing my first game was I actually watched a few football games that were on YouTube, and I actually turned it down to silent, and I would start to call the games on my own that way. And I had to do a lot of retakes, but finally as time went on, I thought I had something that was more or less presentable, and we kind of went from there. And I think as the season went on, with the help of the production crew kind of leading me on it, things got a little bit better, and I thought it went very well, and they seemed to be pleased, and I'm back. So that's got to be a good thing right there.
Can I ask you one question?
Sure.
Doing the award, that's at the end of the game. How many games did we have that were overtime and it lasted? It was way after 11 o'clock by the time we left the field. So can you improve on that this year?
Well, I know my very first game last year, the very first game of the year, was a double overtime game.
Yeah.
And I'm working with Chuck Zapek, who was my color guy, and he goes, I was doing this for 4 or 5 years with Bob Stevens, and we had like 1 or 2 overtime games at all, and the very first game was double overtime. So that game went close to midnight, and then the game last year between Beaufort and Bluffton, because storms rolled through the area, we didn't start that till about 9:20 at night, and that game got over at close to midnight.
Yeah.
So,
way past my bedtime.
yeah, I was about to say it got going pretty late. But one thing I do want to make sure we mention is, our sponsors who are kind enough to help us produce this broadcast. Covert Aire is obviously the title sponsor. Mike Rickenbaugh Chevrolet has been great. They've been sponsoring the halftime show. Before you buy, give Mike Rickenbaugh a try. You like that, Eric?
I like that.
You like that? Okay.
Good.
We'll have to maybe go with that this year.
Perhaps.
Maybe go with that. Village Park Homes, the Charles Sampson Group of Charter One Realty, Turbyville Insurance, and Hilton Head Exterminators. So we want to make sure that they understand how appreciative we are of them being sponsors for us, and we look forward to a great season.
Well, thank you all for being with us today, and we will see you next time on 843 TV, where communities come to speak.